Hi, and welcome to Temple Street. I'm Dad Irwin.
And I'm Dan McCarthy. Today we're going to be talking about a new smartphone app for the disabled. We're actually going to be checking out big plans for Big Brothers and Big Sisters, and we're going to check out a play as Charlie Brown as a teenager.
We'll also look at Bostonians about their favorite summer memories, learn about an outreach volunteer program for youth in and out of the United States, and get a sneak peek of a new ice bar coming to Faneuil Hall. And then we'll talk to our critic at large here, Corinne Doncaster, for our Critics Corner.
What have you got today, Corinne?
Today I'm talking about one of my guiltiest pleasures, The Real Housewives.
OMG, I just cannot wait for that. Let's get it started. Big Brothers, Big Sisters of Mass Bay currently serves over 1,800 youth, matching them with adult mentors. Reporter Corinne Doncaster looks at how the agency plans to enhance their summer program by this summer.
Big Brothers, Big Sisters of Mass Bay started their organization over 60 years ago to match children with role models they can spend time with. But currently, there are more children than volunteers. So the agency has created a movement to recruit Big Brothers for the remaining littles.
Big Brothers Big Sisters is currently engaging in a campaign to reach out to 100 men in 100 days that want to step up and be a big brother to a child in need. Currently, we have hundreds upon hundreds of kids waiting for a mentor, and we're hoping to address some of that need between now and June.
Big Brothers Big Sisters creates lasting friendships between bigs and littles. Zolan Cano Youngs, a big and student at Northeastern, is proof that the program can leave permanent impressions on the children and adults involved.
I wanted to become a big brother because I was a little. I remember when my big would come in. It was just such a good thing for me, such a relief, from any problems I was going through. So I just wanted to give back to the program that benefited me.
There are also field trips planned by Big Brothers Big Sisters, which allows bigs and littles to socialize in groups and participate in outdoor activities. Alone time with your little is also important, as noted by Big Brother Luis, a student at Harvard.
And I don't see it as a sacrifice, honestly. I look forward to meeting with Randy. It's something fun. It's not just me sacrificing some time. It's me going out and having a good time. I see it as an opportunity.
Although the agency provides free tickets to sporting events, just a trip to a local park is time well spent to children looking for a role model and friend. Corinne Doncaster, Temple Street.
If you're interested in volunteering your time as a big brother or sister, visit www.bbbsmb.org.
Hey, remember the landmark comic strip Peanuts? Well, now you have the opportunity to see Charlie Brown and his friends mature and well into their teenage years with the popular play Dog Sees God. Temple Street reporter Yasmin Julmis has the story about the play's Boston debut.
Did that really happen last night, or did I just dream it?
No, we definitely had a threesome. Well, Trisha passed out pretty early on.
It's the play the New York Post calls inventive, raunchy, and hysterically funny. Written by Paramount screenplay writer Bert V. Royale, the unauthorized parody of Charlie Brown, or CB as he's referred to in the play, features Brown and his perfectly awkward teenage friends as they battle drug use, bullying, sexual identity crises, and eating disorders. Titled Dog Sees God, Confessions of a Teenage Blockhead, the play conveys the basic corruptions of teenage life. It begins as CB's world starts to spiral downward when his dog dies, and his goth sister and pothead friend can't get it together to offer any help. The proclaimed bad boy of Boston theater, Michael Underhill, stepped out of his comfort zone to play a soft-hearted Charlie Brown.
It's the first time I've played a lead character and in most of the scenes. So I think just kind of being fully present throughout the entire rehearsal process and starting to feel the arc of the character and where the high points and low points are, and just putting yourself into that space.
Suffolk University's very own Communication and Journalism Department staff assistant, Mikey DiLoretto, joined the cast as Van, Charlie Brown's best friend. Also the artistic director of Happy Medium Theater, he says he knew he wanted to be a part of the production as soon as he watched it.
I saw it here in Boston at the Boston Center for the Arts, and I cried. And that's why I really wanted to do the show. It was just completely my speed, and I needed to showcase this. I think that it has every element that anybody who wants to go to the theater would want to see. It is funny, it is sad, it has a great message to it. We do the Peanuts dance at one point. I would say that's the best reason to see it.
The local performance just ended its first Boston run, produced by the Happy Medium Theater Company, at the Factory Theater off of Columbus Ave. Buzz about the play got around Boston so fast that the first 2 shows were completely sold out. Dog Sees God was first produced in 2004, and since then has been shown coast to coast, from Los Angeles to Manhattan. It even made an international debut in the United Kingdom in 2008. Be sure to catch Dog Sees God next in a city near you. This is Yasmin Lisa Jonas reporting for Temple Street.
Dog Sees God will be playing in Kansas City next. Charlie Brown, he must have been quite the sight as a teenager. I wonder what Charlie would look like as a dad.
Well, I think he'd do just fine as a dad. An outreach program from St. Gerard Magella Church in Canton gives youth the opportunity to make a difference in the U.S. as well as abroad. Elizabeth Salento, who is also taking part in the program, talked to Paul Driscoll and Hannah Sussick about what the organizations have to offer.
Today we have Hannah and Paul in the studio today, and both of you are been a part of the St. Gerard's Magella Church for quite some time now, and also both of you are extremely important organizers to the youth administrative programs in the Canton Communities Church. Can you please explain to me a little bit about what the programs are at the church, and in particular the outreach program?
Sure, I'll talk first. The outreach program was designed 20 years ago this year actually to provide opportunities and programs for high school kids from freshmen up to seniors to give back to various communities throughout this country. So everything's in the United States. Our goal and objective is to expand and continue to grow to help various communities out in different parts of the country, from Philadelphia, which is a soup kitchen that Hannah's very involved in, to Kentucky, which is the Appalachia area where we have the working poor. We also do disaster relief, where we try to give those communities, and this year it happens to be the hurricane down in New Jersey, New York.
Hurricane Sandy.
Sandy, thank you. To help them out, where we've done Hurricane Katrina down in New Orleans for 5 years. We worked down there.
Like, what started the whole outreach program at the church?
I think it was approximately 1993 when we were doing a program with, they called it FACE, F-A-C-E, Finglas in Canton Exchange. It's a community just outside of Dublin, Ireland, that Mike Mahan and a priest that he became very friendly with got together and talked about trying to help out their community and helping our own community at the same time. And their community had over 40% unemployment at that time, and they wanted to give their kids an opportunity to explore the United States and to get to know other cultures. Well, during that, they came up with an idea of giving back to the Appalachia area of Kentucky. So to Mike Mahan's credit, in 1993, they took a trip with all the high school kids from Ireland, and they worked on various homes. They are putting in ramps for handicap and trying to help out various elderly people that didn't have money, fixing roofs and things like that. From that, it just started to create an opportunity for us and a ability for us to realize that we have more abilities in our own community to give back, and that's what started the program 20 years ago.
Now, Hannah, you have been doing this for a long time. Like, you started out as a freshman on the outreach programs, and so where are you standing now with the outreach program, and what are you necessarily in charge of on the outreach programs?
So I started as a freshman in high school. I was just a high school kid that participated in the program, and I went to Philadelphia all 4 years of high school. And then once I graduated high school, I became an advisor. And I've been to New Orleans, I've been to Kentucky, and now I've come back to Philadelphia. I'm also, basically I head up the whole advisor selection process. So any college student that's interested in coming back and being a part of the program as an advisor, I basically kind of go through that whole process with them. We do an application and an interview, and just to kind of get them prepared to being an advisor. So, and then I, work with Paul and Mike Mahan from that point to really select where each advisor should be placed.
And on the Philadelphia trips, what do the kids do down there? Like, what will they experience when they go down to the Philadelphia?
So Philadelphia is the smallest trip that we have. There's 8 students and 2 adult advisors because St. Francis Inn provides housing, so that's just the amount of space that we have. And basically we just work with the inn every day, helping them prepare and then serve the meals that they serve every day. They serve between anywhere 200 to 450 meals depending on how many people, what time of year, what time of month, all of that different type of stuff. And then they serve a meal every day, Christmas, New Year's, Thanksgiving,
and this
everything.
is to the homeless people.
To the homeless
that live
people
on the
of
streets,
Philadelphia.
literally.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I mean, when I went down to Peru and we went to Yanhanawasi, which is for peoples and families and kids with a lot of problems, and it was just devastating to see all those results, and it was awful. It was eye-opener. It was really an eye-opener. May you touch upon, Hannah, Peru a little bit?
Well, I know a little bit more than I do, but Peru is that trip, and it's fairly recent with regards to the other trips. It's a newer trip, and that's mainly, for college kids or post-grad adults that want to participate in an outreach kind of program. And basically, they go down to Peru and they work kind of in the community down there, helping different people. It's a very, very impoverished area, so it's definitely an eye-opening type of trip.
Okay, and Paul, you've actually gone to New Orleans. Could you explain what the kids do on that trip over there?
For the previous 5 years, we went to New Orleans and worked there in the Katrina disaster relief, and we did everything from what they call mudding out a home, which is completely taking everything out of the home other than the studs of the home and the exterior shell of the home, to getting to stages where we worked on putting in a roof or windows, doors, flooring, and sheetrock for the walls and things like that. So we really get exposed to a whole myriad of different opportunities for the kids to learn skills and to give back.
And you guys have been in this program for so long, and like you said, you were starting when you were freshmen, and now you're a leader. What makes you guys, and then you too, you've been in it for a very long time, what makes you guys continue to do this? Like, what do you believe so heavily in that makes you continue to do this?
I'll let you start. I think that's more interesting.
Okay. Well, for me, there's so many levels to it. I mean, I think on the surface, being able to go back to Philadelphia, which is a place that, is so special to me, is reason enough to go back. But over the years, as I've been an advisor and made connections with kids and seen kids go from being a participant on the trip to now advisors and even beyond, and making those connections, that to me, I think, is the greater reason for me at this point. It's just helping kids have these experiences, and like I said, seeing it click in their eyes that they've made a connection, that they've made an emotional attachment to this. And I think for me, that experience alone is so enriching to me, and it has changed my life on so many ways, and I love being a part of that, and I love leading the trip, and I just love being there with the kids and helping them go through this and helping them step out of their comfort zone and just being there every step of the way with them. And then, and years later, still having that connection, like you and I can still sit here and talk about our trip, which was a couple years ago now, and I think that's what's really special for me.
I think what's special that keeps me coming back, and I struggle periodically, like we all do with our jobs and life and everything else. So I go through ebbs and flows, but for the most part, it's the 80-20 rule. 80% of me says I'm making a difference. And if I don't do it, who else will do it? And if I don't lead, who else will lead, kind of thing. In addition to that, it's if I could replicate Hannah all day long, this program will be very successful, because in the end, I want to replace myself. I need to make sure someone else can carry the ball and carry the program, and I need more leaders. And to see someone like Hannah, who's gone through the program as a kid and now as a leader, makes me feel like I've succeeded.
I've been on several outreach trips with St. Gerard's, and I do have to say that they are eye-opening, and it's a lovely program, and you guys are doing an awesome job of what you're doing. So keep up the good work.
Thank you.
But I just wanted to say thank you so much for coming into the studio. I know you guys have a busy life. Okay, back to you at the studio.
To learn more about ways to participate in the program, log on to www.stgerard.org and see how you can lend a hand and help bring hope to and love to families that are less fortunate.
That was really nice. Good read, Matt. When we come back after a quick break, we'll be taking a look at summer memories, a studio interview, and the new ice bar in town. Stay tuned.
G-Morning, sunshine. Wakey, wakey. Text me. Are your parents home later? We can hang. LUV, love you. JK. Holla back. Holla back. Holla back. Are you with your friends? That's lame. We're in a huge fight right now. XO. What'd you dream about? Something I did? Are you on your way to the mall? I'm lonely. Nude pics. Send me some. Text me.
Okay, everyone, we have a lot to cover this morning. Tim should be here any second with the latest budget numbers to take us through the initial schedule for production and...
Ow. This is one way to avoid getting the H1N1 flu virus.
Oh, whoopsie daisy. All right, good morning. Let's get this meeting started.
For some better ways, visit flu.gov.
Anyone have a tissue?
In Boston, bullying is no laughing matter.
Bullying is not a game, it's a serious problem.
If you're bullying someone, you're contributing to the problem.
Bullying hurts everyone. Help make it stop.
Bullying doesn't make you popular.
If you're being a bully, you can't play on my team.
If you're being a bully, stop.
Stop.
Stop. Right now.
Together, we can stop bullying in Boston. Visit bostonversusbullies.org.
Boston versus bullies.
Boston versus bullies.
Boston versus bullies.
Let's win this one together.
So, Malcolm, you do know that energy savers last 6 times longer than ordinary light bulbs.
This isn't my room. It's Baron Davis's.
Baron Davis, the basketball player? This is his room?
Yep.
Interesting, because we have Baron Davis right here. Baron, do you live here?
No.
I don't mean that, Baron Davis.
Millions of kids are using their energy wisely. What's your excuse?
With Mother Nature finally dishing out some warm weather, Temple Street reporter Tommy Bedreau got some sun in the streets of Boston and asked people about their favorite summer memories.
What is your favorite summer memory?
Well, mostly right after high school. I turned 18, so we had a big bonfire on the beach for my birthday.
Nice. That sounds cool.
My favorite memory would probably be going to the beach every morning before work, and then going to work and getting to hang out with my friends there because they all work there, and having other people visit me. That's about it.
Sounds awesome.
About 3 years ago, Dave and I, we went to Nova Scotia, Halifax, Nova Scotia, and Dave's aunt runs like a cat house of sorts there, and we got to work behind the counters for a weekend.
Very cool. That sounds awesome. What's a cat house?
It's where you pay for sex.
Wow.
First time I went up to the Saco River in Maine, probably when I was about 17. Yeah, everyone thought I was 23.
Have fun with my friends, that's all. Yeah.
I think we all like to do that.
Hitting the bars, hitting the clubs.
Yeah? Club it up, get your dance on?
You know, getting stupid with my boys. That's
yeah,
all.
Dude.
That's all.
I love getting stupid.
That's all.
Sick.
Definitely go to the beach.
Is that it?
Yeah, nothing beats the beach when it's nice and hot and go in the water.
It's probably like hanging with friends, like swimming by the pool and stuff, having a good time. Barbecues, absolutely.
So what do you like to barbecue the most?
Probably hamburgers, like do it up with like some like crazy toppings and whatnot.
No cheese?
Hell yeah.
You said hamburger though.
Cheeseburger. Why not?
I'll probably go urban exploring. That's what I do most of my summer sometimes. It's a lot of fun.
So what exactly is urban exploring?
We just go out to old decayed like buildings or my favorite bridges, and then just explore the area, take photos, videos.
Well, that looked like a lot of fun. Matt, why don't you tell me what your favorite summer memory is?
Well, my father would bring us down to Hampton Beach, and then we'd go work the car battery warehouse all night long.
Yeah, that sounds very inaccurate. Able Road is a smartphone app that provides users with ratings and reviews of accessibility for disabled persons in a variety of places. The app is still in its infancy, and its creator sat down with me in our studio to explain how it works. We're fortunate to be joined in the studio today by the CEO and founder of McGuire Associates. He's been in a number of Hollywood films. He's worked for Ted Kennedy, and most importantly, he's trained tens and thousands of employees on how to react and adapt to the growing disabled population at venues across the country. His name is Kevin McGuire. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.
So we're going to start with Able Road, the new application that you made in 2013. Do you mind telling us a little bit about that?
Yeah, Able Road is a crowdsourcing, empowering site for people with disabilities, medical conditions, and also their family, friends, and associates. It allows them to rate, review, comment from a sensory, blind, or low vision, or deaf, hard of hearing, cognitive, or mobility perspective on any access issue on any property in America. So whether you want to plan for a trip to Puerto Rico and you're not sure if the resort is accessible, or if you had a bad experience at a restaurant or a doctor's office, you're able to post those types of reviews on Able Road.
How'd you come up with the idea?
Oh, it was like 13 years in the making. I always had an idea of like doing something more than my consulting firm. And at one time in '99, I had raised some venture capital money to do a sort of a portal type of situation, and it just didn't work out for different reasons.
So what was the original draft of that?
The draft, the business plan?
Yes, exactly.
It was really going to be a portal, and this is going back in 1999 when the web was really static. I mean, there was not much video or any visual components to it, but the idea was that it would kind of give all types of information for people who needed it based on disabilities or medical conditions, and it just didn't work out. But one of the things that I always wanted to do, one of the components, was a rate, review, comment, and I ended up taking a component of the original idea and making it the idea.
Okay, so you mentioned in a previous interview that you use Yelp as a basis or an interface for Able Road. So is that something you plan on using in the future, maybe merging with Yelp or Google Maps or iMaps or something like that, or do you want Able Road to remain its own separate entity?
Well, Yelp could always buy us if they want, I mean, I guess. But it's interesting, the Israeli developers that I hired and also the CTO that developed the platform, it's really interesting where it can interface with Yelp or TripAdvisor or MapQuest, Google Maps. And so we're not really married to anybody, but right now we decided to partner with Yelp. But the idea would be that if things were to change, we could just alter the platform. It's not so much a flick of a switch, but within 5 or 7 business days, we could go over to another type of platform. One idea may be that we build our own, but I have a sense that after 3 or 4 years with the content that we generate, somebody's just going to acquire us, whether it's Google Map or Yelp or Amazon or Microsoft, because they're all looking for content.
What do you need right now in order to continue to make the app work?
Good question. We need content, really, for everything. I mean, this whole company is based on content, so we need people to download the iTunes, iPad, iTouch, Droid apps, and provide content. I mean, that's what this baby is all about.
So you've been paralyzed originally from the neck down and then eventually the waist down since 1968. So you've seen how the landscape has changed for a disabled person for decades now. Can you kind of describe how it's changed through your own perspective?
Oh, I mean, it was the dark ages when I was injured. I mean, there was nothing. I mean, there was no ADA, there was no Section 504, there was no Rehab Act of 1973. There wasn't even a concept of mainstreaming. And when I gave the commencement address last year at BU, I told that story about when I was finally released from the hospital, because I was injured in, August 3rd of '68, but I was in the hospital, in rehab hospital, until March of '69. And when I was finally released, the district where we wanted to live, and I think there were 18 elementary schools, wanted to put me into special ed. And my parents fought that. Their position was I had a physical disability, not a cognitive one.
Was that your biggest motivation? Was your parents fighting for your own rights as a disabled individual?
Well, I don't know if it was my motivation, but they definitely instilled a sort of a fight within me, I guess, or a spirit, maybe for a lack of a better word or term. I mean, they pushed me really, really hard. I mean, both with the PT and OT, but then just also to assimilate me and mainstream me before there was even a concept of mainstreaming. I didn't have a choice.
Yeah, you're left with no choice. So continuing on, with technology, how have you seen that landscape change for a disabled individual, both physically and cognitively disabled?
Well, it's interesting. It's more sensory. I mean, I think when the ADA was enacted in I know. When the ADA was enacted in 1992, people at that time always just thought, oh, it's about wheelchairs, it's about mobility. And they were probably right. Most of the lawsuits that were filed under the ADA, the Americans with Disabilities Act, they were physical related. But now 2 things have happened. You have the graying of America. I mean, over 90% of the people in this country that are deaf don't know sign language. And why? Because most of the people that have lost their hearing in this country, or who are deaf or hard of hearing, have lost it only because they've gotten older.
Right, they didn't need to know how to do it.
They didn't know, yeah, there's no reason, exactly. And then over 90% of people in this country that are blind or low vision don't know how to read Braille, again, because of the aging of America.
Right.
But the point is, you've got this graying of America happening, and then you have technology that exists today, which didn't exist 20 years ago. And you have people that were financially independent, now suddenly they have have these sensory disabilities, and they're demanding their rights to access museums or sporting events or theater, and doing it in a way where technology makes it better or easy for them, and they're pushing the issue, pushing the envelope, and now filing lawsuits under the ADA, like the Washington Redskins. I mean, they were sued by 4 individuals that were deaf and hard of hearing that used to go to FedEx Field. They wanted every audible announcement at a football game captioned so they could understand what was being said. Initially, the Redskins said no, and they filed a lawsuit under the ADA, and they won that case. And that case has had a dramatic impact on every sporting venue in this country. How do you caption baseball? How do you caption basketball, hockey, football? It's all different.
And that's where your company comes in, correct? Or is it more of a preemptive strike on such incidents?
Well, the motto of my firm is proactive and reactive. So if it's proactive, I'm getting hired in schematic designs of buildings to ensure that the developers, the architects, the interior designers, the web developers are complying with the ADA. If it's reactive, where the stuff has hit the fan, I'm more like Michael Clayton. My job is to go in there, figure out what is the problem, and make it go away.
Right. So although technology is expanding, perhaps the mentality from many people across the nation hasn't. What do you think is the biggest struggle in terms of educating those on the disabled community?
Well, I think in many ways it has, but I mean, your point's still a good one too. I mean, I just produced that video or DVD on frontline interactive skills. I mean, because one thing is that you build a compliant building, right? And it complies with the ADA. Then you develop policies and procedures to make sure that when it functions or when it opens, it functions properly. But then you want your frontline people, I mean, all you need is one insensitive comment and you're back in a reactive situation. But my point is, though, I think that the grayer that this country gets, the more that everybody in America, they just have to look within their family tree to no one with a disability, whether it's their aunt who had a stroke, or maybe their father who fell off a ladder, or a brother that was born with Down syndrome. So I think that's changed a lot, but there still needs a little more, I think, sensitivity to make this thing work better.
Okay, well, Kevin, thank you so much for speaking with us. The application is available in the App Store and is currently being developed for the Droid.
Ice cold drinks, ice sculptures, and great food. Ice bars are the latest hit in the nightlife scene in London, Tokyo, Sweden, and now one is opening up in Boston for year-round service. Reporters Jessica Nappy and Fred Asaya have the story.
Boston is set to house one of only 24 ice bars in the entire world. Opening this summer, an ice bar called Frost is coming to Faneuil Hall, with construction starting in the spring. Although a lot of details are still under wraps, it is known that Frost Ice Bar will incorporate a Boston theme into everything from the ice sculptures to their signature frozen drinks. CEO of Boston's beloved Doug Tour Company and now CEO of Frost Ice Bar, Cindy Brown, was inspired by ice bars she saw around the world, especially the one she visited in Las Vegas.
I went to the 2 in Vegas and experienced their version of an ice bar, and there are things that we loved about it, and then there are things that we hated about it. So what we've tried to do is take the best of everyone we visited and learn from the mistakes of the ones we visited and try and build the perfect bar. And in some, they don't let you bring your phone in, and these days no one will put their phone down for 5 minutes, let alone 45 minutes.
General Manager Greer Colella went to a London ice bar in January and said there were lines out the door. Based on this success, Frost Ice Bar will be open year-round at a frigid 24 degrees Fahrenheit, which will be tedious to maintain.
We are using a lot of, just cooling systems, HVAC, that kind of thing. But in addition, we have a very, very high level of insulation that's going in order to preserve the ice for a little bit longer of time to cut down on the energy that we use as well. So it's basically like a walk-in freezer.
And rest assured, almost everything will be made out of ice.
Everything is ice except the floor and the ceiling. So the furniture, the walls, the bar, the glasses, sculptures, all the artwork will all be ice.
I'm Jessica Nappy, reporting for Temple Street.
People of all ages are welcome to eat at the Frost Ice Bar until 5 p.m. After that, the 21-plus rule applies. The bar is currently set to open in July.
Guess they're not going to have to worry about getting ice cubes.
That's so funny.
Well, now let's send it over to Corinne Doncaster for even more laughs.
Thanks, Dan. The Real Housewives phenomenon has not only taken over cities across the United States, but across the globe, with the newest editions set to start in Australia. Real Housewives started in the U.S. with the double-dose tan ladies of Orange County 7 years ago. Now, I'm deeply involved in the lives of housewives in New Jersey, Atlanta, New York, Miami, and Beverly Hills. The most astonishing thing about this reality franchise is its power to get us addicted to a show about nothing. And I'm not talking about Seinfeld. Their lives have no substance, and there is nothing funny about it. You watch them bicker, shop, and drink, sometimes all three at the same time. They do nothing interesting, and they don't have any special talents that I can see. Sorry, besides Atlanta housewife Kim Zolciak's voice of an angel. It seems like every version of the show manages to produce at least one housewife who is deluded into thinking she's headed to the top of the charts. But I am, along with a million other viewers apparently are, still fascinated by them. Their every move, their need for attention, and more, their palpable lack of self-confidence. How insecure are they? Well, judging by their looks, very. Each group of ladies is competing for who can have the most plastic surgery or Botox injections. I mean, seriously, I've heard of women wanting to look like Barbies, but even Barbie dolls have more expression on their real plastic face. You're grown women, get some new goals. Interestingly enough, some of them aren't even married, so they can't really be classified as housewives. But why should we let semantics get in the way of good drama? After all, Bethany Frankel, one of the Real Housewives of New York, started out broke and single and ended up getting married, single-handedly becoming very wealthy with her skinny girl empire, having a child, and now getting divorced. All in a record-setting 2 seasons and 3 different reality shows. But that's probably the only example I can think of for someone smart and actually entertaining on one of these shows. As for the other ladies, if they're representing the United States, we're doomed. I mean, think about Ramona from New York or Teresa from Jersey. If people in foreign countries, or maybe even aliens, are learning about us through Bravo shows, and especially this one, they are not coming for a visit anytime soon. With Jersey, they might think we are actually dangerous. With the others, just stupid and shallow. That's the other unreal thing about this reality. It takes a village just to get them out of the house to run the errands most of us humans do in jeans. No matter where or what time of day, these women are dressed to the nines. Who goes for coffee with their friends or to the park with their children wearing stilettos and a Gucci dress? I live on Beacon Hill and have never seen something like that on the Boston Common, which might explain why we haven't seen the Real Housewives of Boston yet.
I am Jackie's Packy. We sell ciggies and beer. What the more do you want?
I can admit that I'm supporting this ridiculous behavior by being glued to the screen, sometimes even watching selected episode multiple times. But everyone watches some mindless trash TV, right?
For sure.
With all the bad news lately, it's important to get distracted in a good, bad way. After all, the best thing about the Real Housewives is its win-win formula. It's a pretty safe bet they aren't going to make the show any smarter. It can only get worse, which will pretty much guarantee we'll love it even more.
Wow, Real Housewives has never been realer. What's your favorite show, Corinne?
I like Jersey because I like their attitude.
Okay, Matt, what about you?
Real House Dads is my favorite.
Oh, is that a show?
Yeah.
I don't think it is.
I'm sorry.
Well, thank you for watching Temple Street. I'm Dan McCarthy.
And I'm Matt Irwin.
I'm Corinne Doncaster. Have a great summer.